Good morning, Tucson, Arizona, and Pima County. Welcome to the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Damon T. Holt and Tom Cortese, co-host. Dr. Holt is taking this day off and spending it with family, which is much needed. He travels around the country constantly working on the trauma resiliency in the schools and introducing it to the public school systems in other states and in Arizona. He also does a trauma-informed training for the judges here in the state so they could do empathy-informed sentencing. And thank you, Dr. Holt, for that. Now, today, we have a special guest from Our America, Paul Parisi, a longtime friend of mine. We'll get back to that after I make some announcements. October 19th, 2024, from 9 to 1 in the afternoon is Fresh Start Expo number 4. And we're going to be out there all day, and we're going to have the judges from the Superior Court, the City Court, Justice Court, Juvenile Court. We're going to be doing stuff with the civil rights restoration, warrant resolutions, juvenile record expungement, marijuana expungements, justice-friendly housing, justice-friendly employers, a job fair, and apply for government assistance. We're going to have all of that out there. We're going to have resources for behavioral health, mental health. And throughout the day, people are going to be able to go in. They're going to be able to sit before a judge in whatever court it is that they have outstanding issues in, and they're going to be able to resolve those issues so that they don't have a warrant out for them. So they're not leaving the house looking over their shoulder. So they're not driving on a suspended license. So they're not thinking, I can't get this job because they're going to look into my background and see I've got a felony conviction. Or you're going to try to get housing for you and your family, but you can't get credit and you can't sign a lease because you are convicted of a felony. And we're going to help you with that. And get out there, get ready. You know, be ready so you don't have to get ready. If you don't have your paperwork put together and all of those things that you need that are necessary for you to present to the attorneys that are going to help you, the law students that are going to be there giving up their Saturday so that they could assist you, the judges that have taken off their robes to spend a Saturday to change people's lives. This is a wonderful event. I've been part of 3 of them. Paul, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, has been part of everyone. Him and I started together on the first committee for the first Fresh Start Expo, and it's just been extraordinary, all the lives that have been touched through this. But we would be remiss if we didn't thank all of the organizations that have supported us and been with us through all that we have gone through in order to get to the point where we were. You guys know who you are. The list is too long. I'd take up the whole show if I was going to thank everybody. But I do want to throw out that we'd like to thank Sports Clips for always coming out and doing free haircuts and making people feel better about themselves because they look better. And DKA bringing out clothes so you can look better and you can go do an interview with one of these felony-friendly employers and you could feel good and look good. And that's a good thing. So, now, November 2nd, 2024, Maricopa Fresh Start, the first one. We're going to be at Grand Canyon University all day from 9 to 2. We're going to have the judges out there. We're going to have resources out there. And please come on out there. If you have issues in Maricopa County with your fines, your fees, restitution, all of those things that you have to take care of, come on out there, man, because it's going to be the first one in Maricopa. Maricopa is so much larger than Pima County, and we're going to need you to come out there because we're going to need people to help us put this on in the future because this is going to grow and get bigger. Because you know what? When you start losing the burdens of your past and start moving into your future without all of that weight on your back, you can only be successful. And we're going to hook you up with the people, the organizations, and the resources that will help you be successful. Whatever it is that you need, just open your mouth and ask for it because I'm telling you, there are people out here that are willing to help you and give it to you. So with that, no further ado, my dear friend Paul Parisi, him and I worked together for years and still working together, doing a lot of stuff. He also, when he started this job at Our America, he invited me to join Our America and become one of the hometown heroes where I could give my personal testimony and they put it up on the website. And, you know, we have a lot of things that our hearts are geared toward and we have empathy for. Paul is one of the dearest people that I have worked in this industry, nonprofit, with since I've started in this. But I'm going to throw it over to Paul. I'm going to allow him to tell you a little about Our America, and then we're going to talk about a few things that affect Pima County and how Our America is working not only in Pima County, but in Maricopa County. And Paul is running throughout the state doing events and doing tabling and showing up where he needs to be with a bunch of people with yellow shirts on that say Our America. So let's take back Our America and welcome Paul Parisi.
Oh, thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's amazing how this transition to Our America, been there now a little over a year, and I wasn't looking for a job. This lady, Christy Narcy, who's the director of the Independent Women's Network in Phoenix, she and I had worked together on the Save Women Sports Bill, and she was friends with Gabe Nadalis, who's the national director of Our America.
Wow.
And Gabe came to her and he says, do you know anybody in Tucson? I'm trying to start this grassroots thing in Tucson. She says, you need to speak to Paul Parisi because he knows a lot of people. So my intention was to help him find somebody. So before you do that, you investigate who's asking you to help them. So I looked at the website and I see our purpose is to unite communities around a sense of pride in America and what makes America flourish.
Amen.
And I thought, well, I could agree with that. And then it says, our vision. We work toward a time in our country when supporting America is patriotic, not a political statement, when civil discourse replaces shouting, and when standing up for America is more important than standing against us. I said, well, I agree with that too. And they said, the mission. Our mission is to build a broad, diverse coalition of people who support those timeless American values that empower everyone to thrive, including equal opportunity, mutual respect, and freedom of expression.
Amen.
So I looked at that and I started looking at the people that are involved, the people that formed Our America, the people that are on their board. And most of them are minorities. People who believe in the American, Black and Hispanic people who believe in the American dream and want their communities to be able to do that in the American way.
Yeah. Pursuit of the American dream. Hey, Our America, it was pretty cool because I got to speak to an individual and tell him a little about my testimony. And they did a really nice article, and it's on the website. What is the website, Paul?
Join our, O-U-R, America.org.
Wow. So get on there, look it over. I'm telling you, he just read it to you. There's nothing on there that you're going to be opposed to. Do you have the points of
Yes.
Our America? There's 4 or 5. There's like 4 or 5 points that they stand behind and they endorse. And I mean, me personally, and everybody knows, I am a violent offender. I am an ex-violent offender, and their approach to violent offenses is different than others, and which made me take particular interest in it, because as I continually harp on this program, we need to change the sentencing code, and we need to make an incentivized sentencing code so that when people get the help they need and people get the education they need and the vocational training they need and the behavioral health options that are made available to them, then they can flourish too. But you know what? You have to be held accountable for the things you do. I mean, I did almost 28 years in prison, and I had basically 2 violent offenses. And you know what? I belonged in prison, bro. I mean, from the point of the original offense, I had a gunfight with police. I shouldn't have got out of prison. I mean, with that type of behavior. Yeah, but you know, the sentencing code allowed me to get out, and I got out, and you know what? Stuff went the way it did, and then it happened again, bro. And it was like 33 years, and I ended up getting out in 11 years. And now the last 7 years, bro, has just been the best 7 years of my life.
Yes.
You know, and part of that is people like Our America, people around Tucson, around the nonprofits, around the churches that we're members of, that we're friends of. I mean, the people you've introduced me to, bro, I mean, every person you have introduced me to is solid gold.
Thank you.
Is solid gold. Just, I mean, beautiful people with this heart that, you know, I mean, your friend with the veterans, I mean, just absolutely incredible,
Yes.
bro. You know,
John DeRaco.
Mike
Yeah.
Alameda, Mike Alameda is absolutely incredible for spreading the gospel.
He is.
But he is also just incredible for carrying it throughout the country. And actually organizing the Hispanic community to help. Beautiful. And didn't you just have an event recently with the Hispanic community up in Phoenix, Maricopa?
Yes, we got a whole bunch of Hispanic organizations together in one room, and they had never all been together before. And we were able to discuss, Our America hosted the event, and we were able to discuss getting out the Hispanic vote and also forming a coalition going into the future where these different groups can work together.
He did it, folks. He did it. He mentioned getting out to vote. So, you know, I'm going to get on my soapbox. You know, in 2020, we had 78% of the 18 to 24-year-olds registered to vote and voted in Pima County. 87% registered and voted in Maricopa County. Right now, we only have 18% of the 18 to 24-year-olds in Arizona registered to vote. So get out there and register. Become part of the process that makes decisions. We talked about it last week. That just the preliminary election, bro, there was like 10% of Pima County's population that was represented in the election. And I'm like, that means 90% of the people don't care who's making decisions or what decisions they're making.
That's right.
Why can't we turn that number around?
Right. You want people that fit your values, your whether it be family values or economic. That's why Our America doesn't get involved in a lot of fringe things. We have, you talked about our pillars, and I'll talk about the one with Fresh Start last.
Yeah.
One of them is protecting free speech,
Amen.
freedom of thought, to be able to express yourself without feeling marginalized or canceled. And then there's the cost of living. And the cost of living, that affects all of us.
Yeah.
You know, we're supposed to keep the fruit of our labor and give some of it to the government to run it, but not the lion's share. And they shouldn't be just printing money and making inflation like it is today. And also the right to worship. And for some of the things in the right to work, protect religious people from workplace discrimination and retaliation. Provide reasonable accommodation to religious individuals. Protect the religious viewpoint of licensed professionals so they can have their own freedom of thought. Treat religious and non-religious charities equally, like Fresh Start. Okay, and then we get into crime and safety.
Yeah.
And that's where we have a lot in common. Now, we want to increase the number of police officers because if you eliminate if you eliminate certain things, people won't commit crimes, like the opportunity, okay, or the motivation. Okay, so all you have to do is eliminate one of those, the opportunity and motivation. And if you know there's going to be consequences to the crime, you may not do that, and you may not end up in prison. We also want people to be treated good by the police. We hear these horror stories, especially years ago, and they're fewer and fewer because we are adopting community policing, and we're enhancing the training for police officers. Okay. Also, we want strong sentences for repeat and violent offenders, but when people get out of prison, we don't want it to be a life sentence that they were in prison. Okay, and we expand the victim witness support also because we care about people who suffered with crimes. But you know, we've said this many times, 2,000 years ago in Rome, when you got out of prison, you got a certificate that said paid in full
Paid in
your
full.
debt to society.
Yeah.
You know, and Arizona has some of the worst laws with criminal justice. Louisiana and Arizona are tied for the worst laws, like the truth in sentencing,
Yeah.
which is called truth in sentencing, but it's mandatory sentencing, where it doesn't, even if you get a college degree or keep a clean record, you cannot reduce your sentence.
Right. And I mean, there was a time in Arizona where judges had the discretion to mitigate, aggravate, presumptive sentences, those type of things, and they could actually dismiss and enforce. But that changed in truth in sentencing as it became harsher and harsher. It took, you don't need judges anymore. You just need a robot that reads an algorithm that says, if you fit into this category, you fit into this category, you get this much time. And it just spits it out like a computer.
Right.
And you know what? They're spitting out well over 200 people every month back into the community. And there's well over 100 of them that are violating, bro,
Right.
because they don't feel welcome,
That's right.
you know?
And to be able to get jobs,
Yeah.
licensing things,
Yeah.
okay?
Oh, yeah.
Like you want to get a contractor's license, it shouldn't be held against you.
Yeah, you can't.
Like that you had a felony like
Yeah.
that. Or you want to be a physical therapist or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, there are a lot of barriers, and like you were saying, paid in full. There was a time where they said that when you have finished your sentence, your debt to society has been paid, and it shouldn't be brought back up. That doesn't happen. We
That's
know
right.
that doesn't happen. But I'll tell you what, I really like what our America is doing, bro, because they're so well-rounded in how they're addressing the family. They're addressing belief systems and values and morals, but they're also addressing what's wrong with the system.
Yeah. Well, we're very new with this grassroots, and that's what I do. See, what happened, Our America's a fairly new organization. They were like a think tank in Virginia, right outside of Washington,
Right.
D.C. And they investigated crime, okay? And they picked 5 cities that have crime like the major cities. And that's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Henderson, Nevada, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, and Tucson.
Wow.
And Gabe Nadales, our national director, had lived in Tucson. And that's why he chose Tucson for the first thing to have our grassroots, what we call hometown heroes like
Right,
you.
yeah, amen.
Okay. And the first thing they did, they said, Paul, we need to reduce the crime in Tucson. And the way to do that is to increase the number of police, because Tucson has literally half as many police officers as they need.
Yeah.
And they don't even respond to so many different things. We have a great police force. We have great training. We have community policing. The command staff is excellent. The officers on the street are the best anywhere. But there's not enough of them.
Right. And we've had Chief Casimir on the show.
Yeah.
And he's told us that. And he's told us about how they keep losing them and how there's no money to pay them.
Right. And
You
all
know?
the police are trying to, department to add people. But we're over 10% less than Phoenix. Why would they're recruiting people? They're getting people to come. They're still struggling,
Yeah.
but they're getting people. Scottsdale just raised their pay a whole bunch. We're equal now to Oro Valley, a town with a little over 40,000 people. With a big city like this, they need to raise the pay for the police to recruit more and to be able to fund it, make it a priority. Oro Valley, Moran, and Sahuarita have fully funded police departments, and they have the lowest crime rate in the state, where Tucson has the highest crime rate with not enough officers. Climate change is Tucson's top priority.
I also don't see as many homeless in Oro Valley, Rita Ranch, Vale.
And that's another one. See, we do 2 things, okay? We take issues like the crime and safety. In Phoenix, they were having a problem with the police, and the Department of Justice investigated it. And they put body cameras, enhanced training. They raised the pay to recruit and retain officers. Yet the Department of Justice is trying to force them into a consent decree So you have federal control of the police department.
Wow.
Every city this has happened to,
It's like a
the
militia.
crime has gone up through the roof, and it's cost the taxpayers tremendous amount. Maricopa County Sheriff was put under a consent decree. It caused the elected sheriff to quit because his hands were tied, and the Maricopa County has cost them almost $300 million.
Wow.
What that is defunding the police.
Right.
So we want the city council to have control, to do the things necessary to make that police department a superior police. It's good now, but we want it even better.
Mhm.
But you can only do it with local control. So we had a rally in Phoenix with our hometown heroes, with our yellow shirts, asking them to do that.
Mhm.
Well, we work on legislation. Like the legislative session's going to start.
Yeah.
And I'll be at the Capitol working on legislation to reduce crime, to cost of living, and criminal justice reform. We'll be working on those type of things. Because if the laws don't fit what you're trying to do, we need to get people together. With grassroots, our hometown heroes make a difference. We send out these action alerts on legislation, and we have this system called I-360,
Mhm.
where if you see this alert on let's say it's a bill for earned release,
Yeah,
where
amen.
people can
Come on.
where people can do something in prison and earn a lower
Right.
sentence. If that legislation comes up, we'll send out an action alert, and all you have to do is hit a button, and it goes directly to the committee or the body or the individual that we need to contact, and you could put a little note in it, and it's a lot different than one of these robo things where you get a bunch of emails because it's more of a personal thing.
Right.
And then we have people writing letters, speaking at these committee meetings, and that is the grassroots.
I've seen your Facebook page and like I said
Yeah.
earlier, it's like everything they show up at, everybody's got a yellow section.
That's
You know,
right.
the Our America yellow section.
Grassroots work.
Yeah. Bro, I know from the last, 6 years working with you, if there's going to be an event, and I was thinking about it on the way over here, that the reason Paul was successful at every event that he put on is he persevered, he persisted, and he cares about the result because he knows if we have the right people in the room, we can change things and we can make a difference. And Paul has always been making a difference, and I really appreciate him. I appreciate the relationship that we've developed over the years. He's a constant education to me, being locked up most of my life. I don't have a clue as to what the world is about, but sometimes, you need somebody to explain things to you. So it's great to have Paul. What can we do for Our America at Fresh Start? And we know you guys are going to be at our next event, and hopefully the Phoenix event and every other one after that. But what can we do to help
Okay.
Our America?
I'm going to make a promise first that if you become a hometown hero, I won't spam you with a bunch of emails.
Amen.
And I won't ask you for money. Okay.
Yeah.
What I will ask you for is your time to help make a difference. Go to the website, join, JOINROUR, America.org, and there's a tab that says Hometown Heroes. All you have to do is put your name, address, and phone number on it and check off the things that interest you, and you'll be a hometown hero, and together we can make a difference.
Yeah. Let your voice be heard. Join. Join some group that is moving toward a future that we are aligned, that we are more geared toward those things that we believe in each other and those things that we agree on rather than things that divide us. Paul and I are separate in a lot of ways, but you know what? There's nothing that divides us. He is my brother from day one until the end, because you know what? His heart is a good heart. Our America is a good organization. Thanks for coming on the show, Paul. Remember, October 19th, 2024, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we are having the Fresh Start Expo. Be there at the TCC. And you know what? Start this day with a fresh start and look at it fresh and get ready, because we're going to be there and we need you there to get the things that we have for you. God bless you. Have a good day.